In this moment, as the days grow shorter and November settles over the world like a quiet whisper from heaven, there is a voice calling you, steady, strong, unshaken. A voice that has guided generations, lifted the broken, restored the lost, and awakened hope in hearts that thought they could never rise again. And that voice is speaking to you right now saying, don't miss what I'm doing in this season, because November is not just another month on the calendar. It's a divine appointment. It's a spiritual turning point. It is a month where God starts shaping what your future will look like. It's the place where your waiting meets His timing, where your prayer meets His plan, where your tears meet His healing, and where your faith meets His power. There are moments when God moves quietly and you don't realize it until later. But this month, His hand is not hidden. You can feel it in the shift of your spirit. You can feel it in the restlessness that won't let you settle. You can feel it in the doors that have stayed shut for months, suddenly shaking on their hinges. You can feel it in the way your heart keeps whispering, change is coming, because God is not done with you. He is just getting started. And November is the beginning of something you prayed for long ago. Something you thought you lost. Something you thought would never come. Something heaven never forgot. Maybe you walked into this month tired of carrying burdens no one sees, tired of waiting for answers, tired of pretending you're strong when your soul is fighting battles no one knows about. But God is saying, I see you. I know you. I am working for you. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not abandoned. Heaven has been organizing miracles with your name on them while you were wondering if your prayers were even heard. Every tear you cried in the dark became a seed for the blessing that is being prepared right now. And in November, some of those seeds are finally breaking through the soil. There are breakthroughs forming in silence. There are chains falling without a sound. There are enemies that planned your downfall but never saw God stepping ahead of them. There are storms that thought they could destroy you, but are about to become testimonies that strengthen others. There are doors that no force in hell can stop from opening, because God has declared that this is the season of movement. This is the month where things begin shifting in your favor. But you must pay attention. You must be awake. You must not miss what God is doing, because His work is not always loud. Sometimes blessings come disguised as delays. Sometimes protection looks like rejection. Sometimes redirection is the greatest sign that God is taking you somewhere higher. This month, God is removing what you thought you needed so He can give you what He always planned for you. He is pulling you away from people who were limiting you. He is closing doors that were slowly draining your spirit. He is lifting you from environments that couldn't carry your calling. And He is guiding you into a place where His voice will become clearer and His path for you will finally make sense. So walk through November with faith. Walk through it with expectation. Walk through it believing that heaven is closer than it feels and God is doing more than you can see. You may not understand everything today, but trust the one who sees tomorrow. There is purpose in the shift. There is meaning in the waiting. There is power in the path you're on. And this month, God is whispering to your heart, stay close, stay ready. I am working in ways that will leave you speechless. Don't miss it. There are moments in life when God moves so softly that you almost mistake His presence for silence, but November is not one of those moments. This month carries a shift in the spiritual atmosphere that you can feel even if you can't fully explain it. Something in your spirit stirs differently. Something in your heart feels like it is stretching, expanding, preparing for something new. It's not just emotion. It's not just imagination. It's God quietly positioning things around you. You may not see the details yet, but you can sense that heaven is unfolding a plan that has been in motion long before you even prayed for it. Divine shifts don't always come with noise, lightning, or dramatic signs. Often they arrive like the changing of a season, slow, subtle, but undeniable. And right now, November is the season where God is making moves on your behalf. You might find yourself thinking more deeply about your future, feeling a pull away from old habits, or sensing discomfort in places that once felt normal. That discomfort is not a burden, it is a signal. God is telling you that you cannot stay where you used to be. You've outgrown certain mindsets, you've matured beyond certain environments, and heaven is preparing you for higher ground. Divine shifts always begin inside you before they manifest around you. God changes your heart before He changes your situation. And this month, He is stirring your spirit so you don't sleep through what He is arranging. There are things you prayed for that seemed delayed, but the delay wasn't denial, it was preparation. God was waiting for the right time, the right people, the right alignments. Sometimes we want blessings instantly, but God waits until the blessing won't break us. In November, the things that were held back for your protection are now being released for your advancement. A divine shift means heaven is saying, now. Not earlier, not later, now. Shifts like this can turn ordinary days into destiny moments. They can transform what looked impossible yesterday into reality tomorrow. Maybe you've been battling confusion or feeling stuck, wondering why certain areas of your life haven't progressed. But even that has been part of the shift. Before God brings clarity, He often removes the structures that kept you comfortable but limited. Before He opens new doors, He allows old ones to close so you're not tempted to return. Before He elevates you, He separates you. All these movements, even the uncomfortable ones, are signs that something powerful is unfolding in the spiritual realm. God is shifting the ground beneath you so your life can rise higher. And sometimes the greatest evidence of a divine shift is not what changes, but what no longer shakes you. The fears that once controlled you start losing their power. The doubts that once tormented you begin to fade. The wounds that once defined you start to heal. When God shifts you, He strengthens you. When He strengthens you, He prepares you to handle the weight of the blessing you're about to receive. Heaven does not pour new wine into old wineskins, and in November, God is reshaping you so you can carry what He's about to place in your hands. You might not see all the details yet, but trust the stirring inside you. Trust the peace that doesn't make sense. Trust the gentle tug on your heart. Trust the timing that feels different from any month before. Because when God shifts a season, it means your story is about to take a turn. Not by chance, not by luck, by His design. And November is that turning point. There are seasons in life when you find yourself waiting longer than you expected, praying harder than you planned, and walking through days that feel heavier than you can explain. You look around and wonder why others seem to be receiving answers while your prayers echo in silence. You wonder why the things that matter most to you seem stuck, delayed, or hidden. But what you may not realize is that every moment of waiting has been doing something deep inside you. God never wastes time, He never wastes pain, and He never wastes seasons of silence. Every second you've spent waiting has been shaping you, strengthening you, refining you, and preparing you for what you asked Him for, even when you didn't notice it happening. We often think the blessing is the moment God answers, but the real blessing is what He builds while we wait. Waiting develops a maturity that instant answers never will. Waiting teaches you patience, faith, resilience, and obedience. Waiting forces you to depend on God instead of your own understanding. Waiting breaks the illusion of control and replaces it with trust. And trust is the foundation of every miracle. Without trust, blessings don't last. Without trust, breakthroughs become burdens. God uses waiting to remove your fear and anchor your faith because He refuses to give you something that will destroy you. He loves you too much to rush the process. Think about the moments you cried when no one saw them. The nights you didn't sleep because you were fighting a battle no one knew you were facing. The days you kept going even when your heart was tired. God saw it all. None of it was forgotten. None of it was ignored. Every tear watered the soil of your future. Every prayer became a seed planted in God's timing. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. You weren't being ignored. You were being positioned. You weren't being delayed. You were being developed. God was building the strength you would need to carry the blessing that is coming. Sometimes the waiting is long because what God is preparing for you is greater than what you imagined. You asked for something small, but God is crafting something big. You prayed for an answer. God is preparing a transformation. You looked for a blessing. God is shaping a destiny. This month, you're going to start seeing glimpses of why the waiting had to happen. November carries answers wrapped inside understanding. The things you questioned will begin to make sense. The moments that hurt you will start revealing their purpose. The silence will break in ways you didn't expect. The waiting also teaches you to separate temporary feelings from eternal truth. Feelings tell you God is late. Truth says He is never late. Feelings say nothing is happening. Truth says everything is happening in the unseen. Feelings say you're being overlooked. Truth says heaven has been working on your behalf the entire time. You grow into that truth only through waiting. You learn to walk by faith when sight gives you nothing to hold on to. You learn to trust God's heart when His hand feels distant. And those moments shape your character more deeply than any answered prayer ever could. This month, God is honoring the faith you kept in seasons where you received nothing but silence. He is rewarding the patience that cost you so much. What you carried quietly, heaven is about to release loudly. The time you thought you lost is coming back to you in ways that will remind you that God never wastes anything you walk through. Your waiting has been your preparation, and now the preparation is turning into promise. There are blessings forming around you right now that your eyes have not yet seen and your mind has not yet imagined. God often works in places the human eye cannot observe, in timing the human mind cannot predict, and in ways the human heart cannot fully understand. Just because you don't feel movement doesn't mean God is not moving. Just because you don't hear an answer doesn't mean heaven is silent. Hidden blessings are the kind that take shape behind the curtain of your life, in the unseen places where God arranges, aligns, and prepares everything long before it ever appears before you. And this month, more than ever, God is releasing things in your direction that you didn't even know were being made for you. You may think that nothing is changing, but there are conversations happening about you that you don't know about. There are hearts being softened that once resisted you. There are opportunities being shaped that are not yet ready to be revealed. God is touching the minds of people who will help you, positioning individuals who will open doors, and removing obstacles that once blocked your path. You don't see these movements because they are happening in the spiritual realm, not the visible one. God works quietly but precisely. He works slowly but perfectly. He works invisibly until the moment everything becomes undeniable. Every time God prepares a blessing, He protects it until the appointed moment. Hidden blessings require hidden work. Just like a seed must first break underground before it ever breaks the surface, your blessings have been growing beneath the soil of your life. Others may not see your growth, but heaven sees every inch. You may not see progress, but heaven sees the roots forming. You may think nothing is happening, but heaven knows the breakthrough is pushing upward. And in November, some of those hidden blessings are rising into the open. Sometimes God hides blessings not to keep them from you, but to keep them safe for you. There are things you prayed for that God could not give you earlier because He needed to protect the promise until the right moment. There are dreams that would have been destroyed if they came too early. There are relationships that would have fallen apart without maturity. There are opportunities that would have overwhelmed you without experience. God does not hide blessings to punish you. He hides them to prepare you. He hides them so no enemy can steal them. He hides them until you are strong enough, wise enough, and ready enough to receive them. You may even look at your life and feel like everything is slow, but often the quietest seasons are the ones where God does the most. Silence does not mean absence. Slowness does not mean denial. Stillness does not mean inactivity. Some of your greatest miracles are being crafted in heaven's workshop right now. And while you are waiting, God is working on the details, the timing, the placement, the connections, the protection, the preparation. When God releases a blessing, it never arrives half finished. It arrives complete, precise, and aligned. This month, don't let the lack of visible evidence convince you that God has forgotten you. Don't let your emotions deceive you into thinking nothing is happening. Heaven is more active than you realize. God is writing chapters in your story that you haven't read yet. He is building bridges you will soon walk across. He is orchestrating divine connections you will soon encounter, and the blessings coming toward you are not weak, small, or ordinary. They are the kind that make you stop and realize why every delay, every trial, and every silent season was necessary. Hidden blessings are the sweetest because when they finally appear, you realize God was closer than you thought and working harder for you than you ever imagined. There are moments in life when God begins to pull things away from you, and at first it feels confusing. You feel the distance growing between you and certain people. You feel certain opportunities slipping from your hands. You feel doors closing that you thought would always stay open. You feel a shift in relationships, in friendships, in your surroundings. And your heart wonders why. Why is this happening now? Why does everything feel like it's shaking? Why does it seem like God is stripping things away instead of adding more? But what you may not realize is that sometimes God must remove what is limiting your spirit before He can release what will elevate your life. Not everything that stays with you is meant to grow with you, and not everyone walking beside you is meant to walk into your next season. There are people in your life who were good for your past but dangerous for your future. They were part of your development but not part of your destiny. They were a chapter, not the whole story. And when God begins preparing you for the blessings ahead, He must disconnect you from anything that will sabotage it. Some voices around you were weakening your faith. Some environments were draining your strength. Some connections were slowing down your spiritual progress. God saw what you couldn't see. He heard conversations you didn't hear. He witnessed intentions you didn't know about. And He recognized limits you weren't aware of. And because He loves you, He began removing these things, not to hurt you, but to protect you. Sometimes the things God takes away are the very things you prayed to keep. Sometimes He closes doors you begged Him to open. Sometimes He pulls you away from places where you felt comfortable. But comfort is not always aligned with calling. Growth requires discomfort. Elevation requires separation. You cannot rise while holding on to what was pulling you down. And God, in His wisdom, steps into your life and gently but firmly pulls away the weights you didn't realize were slowing your steps. The pruning may feel painful, but it is purposeful. A tree cannot bear fruit unless it is first pruned, and a life cannot carry destiny until it is first purified. You may ask, why now? Because November is a month where God is clearing the soil of your life so the seeds He planted can finally grow. He is removing distractions so you can hear His voice more clearly. He is cutting off relationships that were feeding your insecurities. He is breaking habits that were holding your spirit hostage. He is guiding you away from environments that kept your vision small. Everything He removes is making room for something greater that is coming. God never takes without intending to replace. He never subtracts without planning a divine addition. When He clears space, He is preparing a blessing that needs room to arrive. You might feel lonely in this process, but you are not alone. You are being refined. You might feel like you're losing, but you're being positioned. You might feel like things are falling apart, but in reality, they are falling into place. Sometimes God loves you too much to let you stay connected to what is slowly disconnecting you from Him. He sees the future you cannot see, and He removes anything that threatens it. What feels like loss is actually protection. What feels like separation is actually elevation. What feels like the enemy is often the hand of God preparing you for something bigger. In time, you will look back and realize why those doors had to close, why those people had to leave, and why those familiar places no longer fit you. You will see that everything removed was a step toward everything promised. You will understand that God was not taking from you. He was making space for your next level, your next blessing, your next season of purpose. And though it may not feel pleasant now, this divine separation is the very thing that will allow your calling to unfold in ways you never imagined. There are moments when God is speaking, moving, guiding, and shifting things in your life, but if your spirit is distracted, tired, or spiritually asleep, you can miss the very thing He is trying to lead you into. This is why being spiritually awake is so important, because God's greatest moves are often quiet. They don't always come wrapped in lightning or thunder. Sometimes they come as a whisper, as a nudge in your heart, as a sense of discomfort, as a gentle prompting you can easily overlook if you're not paying attention. This month carries a spiritual sensitivity that requires your eyes to be open and your heart to be alert. Heaven is sending signals. God is giving direction, but you must be awake enough to recognize when He's speaking. There are times when God shifts your spirit before He shifts your circumstances. You begin feeling restless, unsettled, or drawn toward something new without understanding why. That stirring is not random. It is God preparing you. But if you numb yourself with distractions, noise, or the busyness of life, you'll miss the meaning behind those divine signals. This month, God is urging you to step into a posture of awareness, to slow down enough to hear Him, to silence the noise around you so His voice becomes clearer, to pay attention to the thoughts, impressions, and spiritual nudges that you would usually ignore, because His direction often arrives disguised as a whisper. Being spiritually awake means noticing what God is shifting in you. Maybe He is inviting you to pray more deeply, to walk away from something that no longer aligns with your purpose, or to feel convicted about habits that once felt normal. When your spirit awakens, you begin to sense when something is not right, even if you can't explain it. You begin to feel drawn toward opportunities that once scared you. You begin feeling peace in places where fear used to reside. Those are not coincidences. They are signals. God is leading you step by step, but He leads those who are listening. There are blessings that require spiritual instructions before they arrive. There are doors that will open only when you follow the quiet steps God tells you to take. There are breakthroughs that depend on your obedience in the small things. If your spirit sleeps, you could walk past a door that heaven has opened. You could ignore an opportunity God placed in front of you. You could miss the healing God is trying to release into your life because you're too focused on the storm instead of the Savior standing in the storm with you. Staying awake means choosing awareness over autopilot, intention over habit, and faith over emotional reaction. Sometimes God wakes your spirit by removing your comfort. When life feels disrupted, when plans no longer flow the way they used to, when familiar environments feel unfamiliar, it's often because God is trying to get your attention. He is shaking anything in your life that has kept your spirit sleepy. He is stirring you so you won't settle for less than what He planned for you. If everything stayed comfortable, you'd stay asleep. If everything stayed predictable, you'd never grow. But when God wakes your spirit, it's because He's preparing you for something greater. This month, pay attention to divine patterns, the people God brings into your life, the ones He removes, the sudden ideas, the unexpected clarity, the moments of deep peace, even the discomfort that pushes you to change. Every piece carries meaning. Every detail carries purpose. God does not waste anything He uses to guide you. But you can only recognize His guidance if your spirit is awake. When your heart is alert, you begin to see God's fingerprints everywhere, in conversations, in timing, in unexpected shifts, in closed doors that protect you, in open doors that propel you. When your spirit is awake, you don't panic at change. You discern it. You don't fear the unknown. You sense God in it. You don't rush ahead. You wait for His prompting. And in this season, that spiritual sensitivity is exactly what will lead you into the blessings God has already assigned to your name. There are moments in life when you don't realize how significant a season truly is until you look back and see how everything started to shift in that specific time. November is one of those moments. It may look ordinary on the outside, just another month, just another page turning on the calendar, but spiritually, it carries a weight that is shaping what your future will look like. This is not a month of coincidence. This is not a month of random events. This is a month where God is laying foundations for blessings you will walk into months from now. What He is doing right now is preparing the stage for answered prayers, open doors, and divine connections that will unfold in the days ahead. You may not see the full picture, but heaven is positioning you for what's coming next. Sometimes God works in a way where the changes you experience today become the strength you rely on tomorrow. The lessons you learn this month will become the wisdom that guides you in the next season. The healing you receive now will become the testimony that encourages someone later. The shifts that feel unsettling at the moment will become the direction that leads you into your calling. God is never just working for the present. He is always shaping the future. Every moment has a purpose. Every experience plants a seed. And November is full of seeds that will grow into blessings you haven't imagined yet. You may feel like you're going through unexpected changes, doors closing, people drifting away, opportunities moving in new directions. It may feel uncertain or uncomfortable, but what you're experiencing is not random movement, it's intentional alignment. God is aligning your steps with the destiny He has written for you. He is ensuring that you are in the right place with the right mindset, surrounded by the right influences when the next chapter arrives. God does not allow change to touch your life unless it is connected to purpose. Everything shifting now is preparing you for what is about to be released. This month is also shaping your spiritual resilience. God is strengthening your heart so that when bigger blessings come, you will be able to handle them without fear, without insecurity, and without hesitation. Sometimes the blessing is ready, but the person isn't. So God uses seasons like this to build your faith muscles, to deepen your trust, to teach you how to walk by faith and not by sight. When you endure a season that forces you to rely completely on God, it changes the way you walk into the next one. You no longer walk with uncertainty. You walk with confidence. You no longer cling to fear. You cling to faith. You no longer worry about what's coming. You trust the one who is leading you. This month is not the finish line. It is the preparation ground. What you do now, how you listen, how you trust, how you surrender, how you grow will directly impact the blessings that unfold later. God is shaping your character because the next chapter will require maturity, strength, and clarity. He is healing you now because what's coming next will require a whole heart. He is pruning your life now because the fruit he intends to grow in your future needs space. He is redirecting your steps now because the path ahead cannot be walked with old patterns or old wounds. You are standing in a moment that heaven will use as a reference point. A moment that will carry meaning far beyond this month. In the future, you will look back and say, that was the month everything shifted. That was the month God began something new. That was the month my spirit awakened. That was the month God aligned my future. This is a divine setup, a divine restructuring, a divine preparation. What God is doing in November is quietly, powerfully, and purposefully shaping everything that is coming next in your life.